Welcome to Footwork.
Setting, would you say it's like a are you just doing it and they're following it, or are you trying to are you being vocal about it, like do as I do,
It's a combination of both. There's times where you don't need to say anything, right? You don't want to just talk your way. I was just listening to a podcast and it was great. It's like you have capital as a leadership. So imagine your leadership, you have just like you have a bank account, right? And every time you speak or give demands, you're withdrawing money from your account, right? And you're eventually, if you just talk, people don't want to listen. But if you don't say a lot, you say the right things at the right moments, but the rest of the time you kind of just show like, this is what I expect from you. But when you speak, you're going to have more attention and they're going to listen more, right? So that we all know those people that just yell and yell and yell. I mean, we were on a team together, same thing. All they do is yell, and you just tune them out. You don't listen to them because 100%. It's like you just keep yelling, and it's not. Sometimes it's right, sometimes it's wrong, but it's because the quantity of how much you're yelling that no one wants to listen to you. So I think it's setting the bar very high and seeing where this is my standard, and I want you guys to be with me, but then encouraging people to get there. It's not always like just putting people down, but it's like, I want you to push your levels here. I just want you to raise it up a little bit. And then when you get there, I'm going to push you even farther. But you need to pick the moments, and you can't speak to everyone the same. And I think that's, as I continue to learn and grow more, like that's a key to it all. It's just understanding who you're speaking to and understanding which style of leadership is going to work best for them.
100%. I think I really like what you said there, is like picking your moments. I think that's a very big thing that leaders have to deal with, is because, if you pick the wrong moment, you say the wrong thing to the wrong guy, just not really understanding who he is and what makes him tick.
Right.
You can really lose him like as a soldier, and he will when you know that you're right, he's not going to follow you.
Right.
So it's really important, I think, kind of diving into some things that your brother Nick said, is like knowing who you're leading.
Right. Understanding
what makes them tick, being empathetic. This we talked about this, is like the emotional intelligence, just having that empathy. And like, it could be, getting to know the person, their background, what figures did they have in their life that led them before? There could be many things, but it's finding out what makes them tick. And I think a very big thing of this is like practicing it. So using training as a time when you can really experiment what makes him click. Like, am I going to get into this guy like right in front of everyone? Is that going to like get him pissed off and he's going to play the best?
Right.
Or am I going to lay off, go talk to him on the side and be like, look, man, this isn't good enough? Or am I going to ignore the bad things and hype up the good things? I think training is a very, very opportune time for you to get to know what makes your players the best. Or, in a work setting, when the pressure is off, it's the same idea. Is like just getting to know these people when the pressure's off and what makes them perform better and give you better results and make you more money.
What is leadership? Leadership is building relationships. And
100%.
by building relationships up, down the chain of command, left, right, allows for effective communication. And what does effective communication then provide? The team will thrive because of it. Any leader in any position, it's like, when do you speak up? And when do you say something? Like, going back to the leadership capital, like, you can only talk so much and demand so much of your subordinates. Like at some point, you'll just push someone too far in one direction that now you've lost them. And that person can go on to then bring the group down.
Yeah.
And it's your fault as a leader because you lost the individual in the first place. And if you had a better relationship with this person, or more effective communication, or it's sometimes not saying anything is the best form of communication.
I would say just that autocratic is much more difficult when you are doing it with people who are at the same skill level as you.
Sure.
Because it is harder for people to see why does he doesn't know more than me. Why is this way right?
Right.
So I think that's when the time sensitive can kind of weigh that out, because sometimes people are looking for that leadership.
Mhm.
But in areas where you have the same skill level, which many of us do in football, just saying my way, my way, my way.
Right.
Is there any time where you think laissez-faire in a team setting works?
When you
Decentralized.
decentralized command, exactly. When you have a team of super highly capable individuals,
Mhm.
this is where it's like, hey, hey, Dylan, we have to get from A to B. You and the team figure out how to get there. Check back in when you have the plan. I'll look it over, and then we should be good to go. Because then when you do this, you're the subordinates, or in this case yourself and the rest of the team, it's their plan. They are empowered now because it's their plan. It didn't come from me. It came from
Mhm.
you and the
Yeah.
rest of your teammates. And because of that, you guys are going to perform it to 110% because it's your plan. You guys thought
So you
of this
take
stuff.
more pride. You take more pride in it, and then you're more inclined to
For sure.
perform
For
it
sure.
because you came up with it.
For sure. I mean, you could think of it's like
Ego.
it's your ego, exactly. And as a leader, you don't okay, the mission is accomplished and you get to be. You don't say like, oh, I knew that, this was really my plan because I wanted to get there. But no, you give them the success. Yeah,
Mhm.
we got to be because of you guys. This is your plan.
Yeah.
You should be so confident in yourself that you don't need to take any credit for it, because they're the ones putting in the work. They're the ones that came up with the plan, and ultimately
Yeah.
they're the ones that put it into action.
And force your ego over them, because that's sometimes a leader, you need to do that.
Right.
Like your ego does need to come out, because like an autocratic, you need to have an ego to say I know best,
Mm-hmm.
because sometimes that's just 100% needed.
Right.
But a lot of the times, like two big personalities, why create a third in that? That just creates more fire.
Right.
So let them
It's almost like you're
push each other for a little bit and then break it up,
So in this case, it's like, lead from the front, but no, this case you're leading from the back. You're kind of just monitoring the situation and letting them kind of figure it out themselves, or you can let other teammates, maybe they're sort of involved, and you're just making sure it's kind of under control in a way. I mean, it needs to be dealt with, but it's something that, like what you said, for example, they have two huge egos. No one is going to tell them anything. Like, they're not receptive to anything, any feedback from anyone. And it's like, me trying to step in there is just like, you're showing to other people that you're going to say something and you truly mean it. But then, like, if they don't listen, you're not going to do anything about it.
Yeah. So it's kind of like,
it's like you're losing respect of the others because of
your battles.
You pick your battles. Exactly.
Yeah. It comes down to those relationships, doesn't it? I mean, just even more on the decentralized is like, I think it is really nice to just show people that they have a little power. Like, you step back and let someone else lead for a little bit. Like, yeah, the power in leading other people feels good a lot of the times, because it feels bigger than you. So a lot of the times you can skip out because it's like, oh, I'm only hurting myself. But when it's like a team thing, there's more pressure on you or maybe not even more pressure. It's just like, all right, I got to do this for my guys. It's not just me counting on me. It's other people counting on me. Exactly.
It's not all I'm caring about is myself, but like now my performance is affecting the group.
Yeah.
So I have to now I have to go up a level, because I'm no longer just worrying about myself. Now everything I do is affecting the group. I think this is kind of something that you can always do as a leader, is like, take every opportunity possible to allow them to make the decisions and take the lead on something. Like, say they have an idea and it's sort of similar to your idea, maybe not as good in your mind, but it's pretty close. Like, always defer to them. Like, let them run with it, because they're
always?
If they're very close, say the two ideas in any situation are very similar to each other, and is it worth it to me to just stomp my foot and say, no, we're doing it my way, and now you're going to lose this person? Or you let their idea go, and now all of a sudden that idea becomes better than yours. Or you can, as they're doing their idea, maybe make a suggestion, but it's still their idea, right? So you're empowering them to take the lead. As a leader, you can't do everything. If you're trying to do everything, like, you just don't have enough time. Say you're the CEO of a company, you can't possibly do every job.
No.
Like at some point, you have to let people do it on their own and
Mhm.
totally trust their ability to perform at the level you want it to be. Maybe it
Yeah,
didn't go exactly
100%.
as you planned it, but while they're doing that, now you have the time to go do something else, which you
Yeah.
never would have been able to do if you tried to do every other job.
Yeah.
So I think it
100%.
it's like Jocko always mentions the dichotomy of leadership. It's like the balance of leading as, leading from the front, or like taking a back seat and letting the people that are skilled, they're there and they're there for a reason, right? Whatever field it is, like these people have the ability. They were hired for the job because they have the ability to do it. They
Mhm.
wouldn't be here otherwise. So like, let them do their job. So how would
Yeah.
you describe yourself or your
Honestly,
approach to leadership?
I think to an extent I'm pace setting, but I believe just because people know that I'm leading by example, where I'm like one of the first ones in, I'm one of the last ones to leave.
Mhm.
I'm going to put in that work, and in the game, I'm going to run the most. I'm going to leave everything on the field. So I think that level of pace setting, I'm also encouraging guys to try and do the same. I don't know. I don't think I have such a strong presence as like, wow, that guy's a leader. I never really felt
Mhm.
as myself as that guy, but I do feel like I'm a leader in terms of where I can be one of the guys that you come to with anything.
Right.
I think I've one thing that I take some pride in is I think I'm very emotionally intelligent, where I can
Mhm.
be empathetic to guys, and I can see what ticks in guys, and I can see
Right.
what times guys need, and I can see what guys don't need.
Work hard. As a leader, you should be working harder than anyone else on the team. No job is beneath you. Speaking with Dennis Crowley and Dan Hoffe at Stockade. Dennis
Ooh,
Crowley,
yeah.
super successful as a tech startup, created a huge company, now created a football club, but he's also the chief t-shirt folder selling
Yeah.
at
Yeah.
a
Yeah. Yeah.
supermarket. No
Yeah.
job is beneath him, right? He's going to work harder than everyone there, and he's also going to do the job that no one wants to do.
Yeah.
Like that is a good leader. Like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm going to clean the floors, so I'm going to stay after and clean the locker room because
That's what I was going to
it has
say
to
is
be done.
I don't know if you've read, I think you did, the All Blacks, the New Zealand rugby team.
I have it over there, but I haven't finished it.
So one thing that they really touch on, it's a great book. I
Yeah.
can't, is there a specific name to it? I just know it as like the All Blacks book, the New Zealand rugby team.
Let me just get it quick. It's right there.
Okay.
You can keep talking to the people.
I'll keep talking to the people. Wow, Sean's gone. It's my podcast now. This is weird.
And the book's all.
I know that I don't have a solo career, Sean. I choked.
It's called, I don't know if the green scene, you'll see it, but it's called Legacy by James Kerr, What the All Blacks Can Teach Us About the Business of Life.
So essentially, one big thing that they touch on is this culture that they've grown and that they've built is where like they clean up everything. They're cleaning their boots, they're cleaning the locker rooms, they're cleaning everything. There's no guy that's coming in after and doing these things. And if there is, they're making sure that he has little to no work to do. I find I bring extreme ownership out a lot because I think it's one thing that's helped me. One of the ideas that's helped me the most, especially in this journey and being alone and all of these things.
Mhm.
And I think a lot of people have difficulty like coming to the same conclusions from this concept as you or I do.
Mhm.
And I think a lot of times people take it a little too seriously. Like, no, obviously that was his fault. Obviously that was her fault. But that's not the point of it. The point of it is that you can always get better and you can always learn.
Yes.
Every opportunity, every
Yes.
failure is just an opportunity to learn. So if you're thinking about it as just, 2 + 2 = 4, yeah, I mean, probably it wasn't your fault because you did this and this person should have done this and they knew that they had to do this and their character flaws may have gotten in the way. But that's not the point of it.
But that's your
'cause
ego talking.
That's your ego talking. And that's just always, that's a dangerous road because then it's just deferring blame and you're not taking something from the situation. What you're
Right.
taking is he's not good enough or she's not good enough. When every situation you can take from, I can get better at the situation. I could have
Right.
done this next time and I can be an even better leader. I can be an
Exactly.
even better teammate. Now, I think a lot of people, one of the reasons maybe they have difficulty with this is because it's like people often take it as too much of a self-judgment. Like, oh, it's my fault. And that can be
Mhm.
kind of hard for people to swallow, especially when it is like totally, completely, your fault and everything rested on you. You missed the last shot. But it's like, it's being scared of failure, which people always are. And once you're not afraid, like, what can you accomplish? We come back to different versions of that quote too. Like the sky really is the limit when you see failure and you see it's that black box thinking. Another book that people should read is when you see that failure, it's a good thing.
It's an
because that's
opportunity
just
to
an
learn.
opportunity to get better.
Footwork is sponsored by ourselves. Also, Kong Fitness and Merchant Designs, baby. Follow us on Instagram at Footwork_podcast. Twitter is at Footwork Podcast. YouTube and Facebook, just check out Footwork Podcast, search it. Email us if you need anything, any questions at footworkpodcast@gmail.com. And remember, plug, pass. Tell your parents, Amazon delivery guy, mailman, I don't know who, just tell them. Like, subscribe, review, all of it helps. Danke.